think the planet in the Bible is Gaia, but there's also the alternate timeline one that they've been remaking, so it gets a little confusing. I don't know if the planet is different or not. But
yeah, Jesus turns you into a lassie, but then you can call on him as an eidolon.
Yeah, imagine summoning the Holy Spirit to fuck things up. I think this is the first season that we haven't mentioned the Eucharist.
I was about to ask
so far, so I guess this will have to. How does the Eucharist fit into a world of fal'Cie and lassie and Jesus? And
I was gonna say when you summon him, he does like a back bend, like like if you're like doing yoga and you like sit on top of him like a tank and you like drive him around. And, you hit the button to use him and like do a super attack.
Do the fal'Cie give like the lassie any like small crackers or like some tasty juice or alcohol to show their devotion?
I have to assume so.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that data log yet, but at any rate, this is the Every FNFF podcast. I'm Carl Germ.
I'm Curtis Ware.
I'm Alex.
Alex Redacted, the producer of this fine program that you're all listening to.
We just like to dox ourselves so you can come find us if you're mad at us.
Yeah, I only use like the first 4 letters of my last name, which makes it a little less doxing, I guess.
I also use only the first 4 letters of my last name.
But we also talked about the fucking interview that we had on Wired.com where I just have my full last name. So come fight me. I always have $20 in my pocket. And that is for whoever can find me on the streets and kick my ass and knock me out. That $20 is yours by right. But I'll get to you first.
Fucking Macklemore ass pocket motherfucker.
If anyone ordered my band's tape, you will also know my real last name.
Oh, really? I ordered it. I mean, I knew your real last name before that, but I feel like I didn't get it sent from you. I can't remember.
Well, I'm the Vanille in this situation.
There you go.
Yeah. Exactly.
You also slept through history class.
Hell yeah.
It's true.
I think, weirdly, history is one of the classes I didn't sleep through because I actually liked my teacher. And I think I talked about him on the podcast before, but he had a fake leg. And
or is it a real leg, but it was man-made?
Yeah. It was a tangible leg. It was just,
I suppose everyone's leg is man-made in a way.
I guess, yeah, prosthetic is probably the I try to avoid that word because I still have a little bit of a lisp that I've had some years of speech therapy to try to correct.
A supplemental leg.
Who the fuck is putting TH next to an S in a word? That's the real insensitive thing here. But yeah, the thing that he used to do is he's like, you guys can sleep in my class. I know it's US history. It's fucking boring. He's like, but I'm going to give you fair warning here. If you fall asleep in my class and I find out about it, and everyone is going to back me up here. He's like, I am going to go up to your desk. I can't feel anything when I move this leg. So I'm going to kick the bottom of your desk as hard as I possibly can. And it got to the point where that was like the only instance of snitching on people that was acceptable in my high school. Because someone would fall asleep in class and we'd be like, yo, Marty. And we would like point to the kid sleeping. And he would like put his textbook down and like creep on over and then kick the bottom of the desk really hard. It was extremely funny.
That's awesome.
I joined the tech department so I can just log into this teacher's server and get the master answers to the test coming up.
That's so much cooler than anything I did. I was a part of the TV announcements in the morning, and I abused that in senior year by not having to sign in at homeroom and not having to get attendance, and then just showing up too late to even do the announcements, but having that as my alibi, being like, oh, I was at the TV club, and I would just have my friend go down the stairwell and open up the door so I didn't have to get caught sneaking in. It was like
I really did just sleep through every class. That was my whole
Love
thing.
Sleeping through class.
Just my favorite thing. I'm gonna do it through work. Hopefully.
I'm going to sleep through this podcast. Have fun, guys. I'll see you next week.
All right. We've gone our separate ways, much like Sazh and Lightning and Hope and Vanille are getting ready to do. Yes. But first, before they do that, or after, anytime really, we have a new ability that we just unlocked after that last boss via the Omni Kit.
Oh.
Yeah. That one.
Well, that's right. We did discuss the Omni Kit last episode, but we did not go into the nitty-gritty of it.
No. But we can
we
now
use this at any time, or do we have to go to a save point?
Save points only.
Same as the shops, I see.
Yeah. But we can now access weapon upgrades, baby.
Yeah,
make that shit real strong.
I've been real excited about this since acquiring a bunch of the materials and seeing that things had level 1, even accessories, and I'm like, that's super cool. I want to be able to upgrade these things. And I have done very little of it because I am terrified of this upgrade system because it seems extremely clunky.
I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised at how simple it is, and that like, okay, each item that you get now has a value and experience that you can just drop into another item.
Yeah.
Which for me is like, okay, cool. I'm going to use like the digital circuits and stuff like that are worth quite a bit. A lot of the technology is really good for upgrading.
Well,
the organic material isn't. What I think is also funny is that the chip wallet or whatever that we got from the Marauder is worth 1 XP.
Yeah.
So that's the credits thing that like they pay Psycom in the company dollars that Sanctum the company script from Sanctum where you can sell it for a high amount but you can't really do much else with it. So
biologic material and the digital material are both really, really good for upgrades, but in different ways. So the digital material or the man-made materials, they have a lot of experience that will go into the weapon or accessory to make it stronger. But they decrease your multiplication bonus. Whereas the biologic material doesn't give you very much as far as experience go, but it increases your multiplication bonus. So if you have like a circuit or a piece of metal or whatever that has like 1,000 experience on it, right? But first you pump a bunch of like enigmatic goo into it. When you
I'm always trying to pump in some enigmatic goo.
I'm always trying to pump in enigmatic goo. The enigmatic goo might only have like 5 experience per, but if you put 10 of them in there, it'll say, okay, whatever you add next will have 2 times multiplier now. And then you put that circuit in there, that piece of metal, and now it's worth 2,000 instead of 1,000. So you get like a giant boost to it. So what you do is, or the plan for me anyway, is you put all that material into it, get a really high boost rate, and then just unload a whole section of your digital stuff onto it.
It's like staggering.
It's like staggering for weapons and blacksmithery. And then you get like 5,000-6,000 experience on a weapon with just one piece of upgraded equipment.
That sounds a lot more succinct than what I was reading in the tutorial, which I was just like, it explains it in a way that makes sense. But like my brain just wasn't wrapping around it, and I was just like, this seems like a nightmare to me who likes to optimize things, and like am gonna be very upset if I'm like, well, I just wasted that one thing on like an item that shouldn't have been upgraded or
you'll be fine getting more like you can get more upgrade equipment. Or I shouldn't call it equipment, but like you can get more upgrade materials much faster than you can get money in this game, it feels like. So like this is kind of okay to just like fuck around with.
Yeah, I think I'll be doing that.
So the first thing I did was level up the Blaze Fire Saber. And then I quickly remembered that I didn't have it equipped. So then I upgraded the Gladius instead.
I was getting ready to say, I was like, interesting choice.
that feels the exact same as when like I'm using Sazh with the buff roll, and I'm like, okay, Sazh, he's my commando in this fight. I am going to use Faith on Vanille, and then I accidentally use Faith on Sazh, and I'm like, no, dude. I did that twice in a row when I was playing through Chapter 4, and I was like, I fucking hate this.
For whatever reason, the synergist roll with Sazh, the auto combat for it, he always wants to cast everything on Vanille first, which is fine, but like he will want to cast Bravery on Vanille before he casts anything on himself, and I'm like, Sazh, that is not useful, buddy. Like, you're not doing anything. And then when it comes to himself, he's like, okay, Vigilance first, and I'm like, no, there are 2 other ones that are better.
It'd be nice if they let you, on top of making decks, like make command decks, so you can say like, here's your auto like prioritize self and stuff like that, where you can like have target priorities and stuff like that.
If only there was a Final Fantasy that allowed you to do that, like the one right before this.
Well, something said if it automate, like it knows like auto chain or whatever, like you can have it
some sort of gambiting.
Yeah, some sort of like gambit system, maybe that one of the Final Fantasies just prior to this one had.
Or at least to reorganize the list, so if you're just smashing A or X or whatever, it'll automatically select Sazh first. I don't know. I
feel like we're just like, you know what? Now I want to talk about 12, so let's just pivot this podcast
over.
But yeah,
I was thinking about this upgrade system, and I think I remember in like the first episode when we were kind of just talking about like the history of the game and its development and stuff, Curtis, I think you mentioned that they were definitely inspired by games like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is kind of derived from that, because the upgrade system, I've only really played like Modern Warfare 2, and I played it like for one summer or something. I wasn't super into it, but I feel like the way you upgraded weapons and that, in my shitty memory brain, kind of feels like a similar sort of thing of just like...
Now that you say that, I'm only ever going to be able to like refer to getting your weapons to star level as prestiging.
Prestiging, right?
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was
about
thinking.
to prestige this weapon.
Yeah.
There's really not too much, I think, to the weapon leveling up and accessories leveling up. But one thing that we talked about just a little bit is you can max these... you can max things out, right? You can get things to the highest level that they can be. And when you do, it just becomes a level star, right? So you get like a weapon, you'll level it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. It becomes level star.
Is it star or is it master like Tomberry?
Ooh,
yeah.
shit, yeah.
And the tutorial tells us, although I don't think we can do it right now. I don't believe so. Maybe we can, but I didn't see anything that could. Once we get it to level star, you'll still be able to upgrade a weapon, but only through very specific materials. So like if you take your Blaze Fire Saber, right, and you get it all the way to level star, sometimes you should go back and check every now and again, go see if you can upgrade it. And sometimes you'll see a material that you can use, you'll upgrade it, and it'll become a different weapon. So it'll actually transform, and the stats will go back down just slightly. And then you can continue leveling that up and get it past the level that the prior one was.
Yeah, I think that is what made me think of Call of Duty, because if I remember, that's how like the prestiging worked.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about it too.
I'm like, those fuckers just ripped off Call of Duty. And then I was like, well, actually, I think they said that they were going to do that.
Which was the style at the time.
Yeah.
It was the style.
And I never filled out my Modern Warfare Crystarium personally. I didn't get that far in it.
Yeah, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try and grind for an El Noil card, and that way you can then refine it in a little bit to get the materials that you need to get a prestige version of Lightning's weapon on Disc 1.
I know we're sides on the sides and we're at the beginning of the podcast right now, but I did stream FF8 for like 6 hours yesterday morning, and God, I kept seeing the Illinois card, but not the fucking Zell card. Why won't it ever appear for me? Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. Yeah, but we walk up out of this. Like basically, when we were fighting the Dreadnought, it shot a wrecking ball below us, and we fell into like a cavern or whatever. Or really, it was not really a cavern. It was a container.
More
I
garbage.
Guess. More garbage.
It's a basement.
Yeah, the garbage basement.
We walked through a nice rectangular prism of a hallway.
There was a cool house show going on there.
God, I love a good house show.
Basically an access corridor for those little robots, because they like to come out of those little access corridors.
Oh, yeah.
I actually liked it a lot. When we were like exiting that little hallway from that container, I was like, I really like this hallway, even though it's like there's nothing interesting about it. I was just like, ooh, have we been in a tight area like this yet? I like
this. Is
a
loading zone, you can tell.
Yeah.
It's like anytime a modern game has you like scooching through something, like, oh, I see what you're doing, devs. You're making me go through a slow section to make it feel real immersive, but you actually just want to buy yourself some time. I get you.
Yeah, it's in
which,
the
like,
same
to be
way
fair, I enjoy. I'm always like, ooh.
It's in the same way that in real life, when you're going to get on an airplane from the airplane, terminal gate, and you walk
the reason it takes so long,
that little tunnel. They're loading the plane.
It's the interior assets of the plane. That's all the streaming assets now. So.
So that's why you have to like wait around in the terminal.
That's why no one listening to this podcast has ever been at the front of that line and gotten onto the plane immediately.
I was thinking, like, when you're at the terminal, they're actually loading the city that you're going to. That's why it takes so long.
The flight is pre-rendered.
Yeah, if you look closely, you're not actually moving, but everything around you is.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like right. New Vegas for like to make the trolley? They actually like.
Yeah, they put the. It's a guy with
it's
a
like
trolley
a hat.
Yeah.
Video games just seem like what they have on The Simpsons when they're filming Radioactive Man, and they're like, hey, why are you painting these cows?
Yeah.
And they're like, horses don't look like horses on camera. You gotta use cows. So they're like,
what if you want a cow?
Usually we just glue a bunch of cats together.
Yeah. Well, it's like the turtles all the way down thing. The Earth is just like on top of a New Vegas NPC. That's what keeps it floating through space.
I believe it.
But we exit back out into the open air again, and it looks like there's is it another one of these ships?
It looks like a different kind of pulse ship, but it does look like a ship. Like,
yeah, I think so.
Maybe it's the rear of one, because we do see like a bunch of like ship exhausts.
Yeah.
It's glowing, and it's kind of glowing as if like there's just ambient energy running through it still.
Possibly. I wouldn't drink this water personally.
No, it looks.
Yeah, don't knock it till you try it.
That's fair.
It's very neon.
Very neon. It's just Monster is all it is.
Yeah.
Just the Baja Blast.
I must drink the forbidden water.
Lightning finally takes a breather.
Yeah.
After saying she's going to scout ahead, and then she just stops like 10 feet away.
Yeah. And she's very like, she kind of stands apart from the rest of the crew, right? Like, because she's very by what's the word to use?
She's a lone wolf.
She's a lone wolf, right? She's very independent, and
she walks a lonely road, the only road that she has ever known. Don't know where it goes,
but it's only lightning, and she walks alone. And Sazh walks up to her and says, "Oh, there's not much of a future for us, huh?"
He just pops a squat next to her.
He does.
Nice.
Oh, she's like hanging out on top of one of the ships, just kind of like getting.
Yeah.
Camera pans down. And we do see like Hope and Vanille kind of also just chilling in near the spring or whatever as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ship that they're on kind of looks like an old boat, like at least like what we can see of it. Some of it might have deteriorated.
Probably an older boat.
Looks like a giant ship, like not a space ship or like a flying ship like we've seen the rest of the game. And it kind of like the shape of it is a little reminiscent of what Sin looks like.
Oh yeah, it does have the kind of like I mean, there's a lot of these new Final Fantasies, or especially with this tech designer, he likes kind of adding organic shapes to a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
But cool. This like the kind of like rustiness and like piping on it kind of makes me like, oh, this is what like an FF4 ship would look like in a remake or something like that.
Oh yeah,
because it still feels very like nautical ship.
It's true. Yeah, I can see that.
But as we'll see later, like ships have advanced quite further than what this looks
ships
like.
Have gone in some very interesting ways in this world. But yeah. So Sazh says, "Oh, there's not much of a future for us, huh?" And she says, "That's hard to picture a happy ending." And Sazh is like, "No, I don't even know where to go." And she stands up and is like, "I do," and looks up and says, "There." And we see the floating location that we saw the first time we came up from the hanging edge, right?
It's so cool because it does look like a microorganism under a microscope, because it has like the little ring and like little wisps coming off of it.
No, I didn't notice that. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah,
very organic looking.
Yeah, like a little slug, or like a slug with like a little horn or something. Like
and Sazh sees
a narwhal slug.
He sees it and he goes, "Eden, the sanctum seat of power." And he's kind of joking a little bit. He's like, "That's a great idea. We'll charge right in there and just give them a taste of Lassie terror."
She's like, "I have the perfect date for when to do this. I'm thinking somewhere in the winter, not right after New Year's, but maybe around January."
Oh no! And there's like a small pause, and he goes, "Oh, you're serious?" And Lightning's like, "Well,
keep running. It's die or turn Seath. There's no place for Lassie to hide. No. They want to fight? Let's take it to the Sanctum's door."
And Sazh goes, "This isn't a game." And she goes, "No, that's for damn sure." And I was like, ugh.
I love that, like, Sazh is just like, we need to, come up with a plan, or we have no idea what we're doing. And Lightning's like, "I do." And then she says the most insane fucking plan of all time.
Shit. Which, like, I get where she's coming from. She's like, we're all gonna die for sure. Let's blow up in their face. Like, let's
this
just
is a JRPG, so like obviously it's like, fuck yeah, cool, angsty, badass protagonist is saying we need to like go directly into the belly of the beast and take everything down. But like, I love Saz's reaction, because it's like how any of us would react in real life if some shit like this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the trope, like anytime I'm watching a movie or anything, where one of the characters literally says this isn't a movie.
Oh my! I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about it.
This isn't a game. Like, well, actually,
yeah, you are in a game.
If you only knew.
That's awesome. But yeah. So she kind of says like her idea here, right? Like part of it is they're dead either way. They're dying no matter what. They complete their focus and they die, right? They don't complete it, they turn into a Sazh. The pulse shoots them down and they're killed, right? Or I'm sorry, cocoon. So there's nothing that they can do.
Which means they got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. And she kind of says, like, look, this all started because the fal'Cie took Sarah. And now I'm a l'Cie. And now the Sanctum's hunting me. And the people who are behind the Sanctum are fal'Cie. And so she kind of says she has like this bone to pick with this system that they live in, that like, even though humans live a decent life on Cocoon, they're not really free to make any of their own decisions. So she's going to go like take it to the fal'Cie. And she even says, I'm not dying a fal'Cie's slave. And so it's kind of like her motivation now, which is cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And Sazh is like, so what you going to do?
Yeah, and she's like, destroy it. She's gonna go destroy the Eden fal'Cie.
Yeah,
and Sazh can't believe it, right? Like at first he's just like, you're crazy. Like even if you do pull it off, what are you gonna get? Satisfaction. And even if you did something, like if something happens to Eden, that's it for Cocoon, because like Eden's in charge of Cocoon. Yeah. And then he's like, wait a minute. You want that. You're a pulse l'Cie, so you just want to destroy Cocoon. That's what you want to do. And like, I guess the other characters are overhearing this, and Vanille hears that, and she's like, no, you can't do that. Like, what about Sarah? She wants to save Cocoon. You can't do that.
Then the tick was like, no, not Earth. That's where I keep my stuff.
And Vanille says, it might even be our focus to make sure that Cocoon stays, and Lightning cuts her off and goes, the focus doesn't matter. I don't take orders from a l'Cie, or I'm sorry, from a fal'Cie. How I live is up to me. And Sazh goes, oh, don't you mean how you die? And she's like, you think like that and it's already over. So they're all arguing with each other.
You're already dead. Yeah, this is extremely cool.
Real Dale Gribble energy.
Dude, I wasn't. Lightning is very Dale Gribble.
Yeah, like
you're already on, you man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she gets a parking ticket, so she's like, I need to go and commit an assassination that will destroy the world.
Yeah. And she does say, she's like, look, don't worry, I'm after the Sanctum. I'm not actually like out to destroy the world. But if it did come to that, I wonder if our quote unquote hero would try to stop me. So she like muses for a second about that. Yeah.
She's like, I really want to fight Snow.
Yeah.
I bet this also maybe is part of like, again, why Hope maybe is like, oh yes, like
I want to kick his ass.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of get a little bit of that at this scene too. Sazh says, oh, you want to fight Snow now? So just like that, you're enemies? And she says, well, next time we meet, we might be too. And like, I get it. Turn the edge down a little bit. It's
it works though. I think it's very like in your face with it, but like I don't know. I think that this is a very dumb plan. We have very limited information about what any of this fucking shit is, and Lightning is just like, oh, I only have one plan, and it is the most extreme option that I can possibly think of. That is I have a one-track mind. That is my mission. I'm not
Lightning
taking orders
only
from
knows
anywhere
praxis.
else. I will fight any motherfucker who comes up to me and tries to stop me.
Yeah,
and I hope that motherfucker is Snow. And like,
right.
Yeah, and like that's just it. And it's like, it's a dumb plan, but I really think it works well in this, where it's like a believable thing where you're like, yeah, she would think this insane thing is the only way to proceed forward.
Yeah.
It's funny that like this, I guess that's early. I don't know how far in the game we are, but just like that we're going straight to like, you know what? I'm going to go kill God.
Yeah.
That seems to be my plan. We do get a voiceover from Vanille, which is, I think it's still like in past tense, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm given all this, but says when the fear sank in, it tore us all apart. Lightning was suffering, reaching out to us, but none of us could see it.
And then Hope goes, yeah, well, Snow deserves it, like talking about what Lightning was saying about fighting him or whatever. And he runs off after Lightning, because Lightning is like departed from the group with that last line to Sazh, right? She walks away and he goes to follow her.
Yes, let the hate flow through you. But Vanille continues her voiceover and says, if only I'd been stronger, none of this would have ever happened. Or none of this ever would have happened.
Yeah.
Not that grammar matters.
Interesting. I mean, more just, obviously this is something in the past tense, so, similar vibes of like Titus being like, oh, this is my story kind of thing. Where it's like, we don't have the context for it now, but I'm sure it'll make sense later, and I'm sure it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. And then Vanille and Sazh have a little scene where they're both standing on that ship, kind of like just looking into the water below and kind of mulling it over. And
both of them don't really have defined, motivations right now. So it's kind of interesting seeing both. Also, both being kind of the most, optimistic or like conflict evasive.
Yeah. I like that about them. I like the way that like their crew and the Lightning Hope crew are like very different. One's very motivated, but like through vengeance and violence, and the other one just wants to survive. Right? They're like running away.
They're just treading water for the most part.
Mm-hmm. And Vanille says, I don't know what I should do. And Sazh goes, oh, that makes two of us. And then she says, hey, you're taking care of me, and like pushes him, like playfully pushes him, but almost like pushes him off the ship. Like, and they're not like close to the ground either. They're like pretty far up. And he goes,
they got water.
Yeah.
She does push people a lot, but this was more of like a playful like slap on the back, and he's like, oh shit, like he's not prepared for it, and like
yeah, and when she says that, she says, you're taking care of me. He goes, I won't be if you keep pushing me like that. I'm like, it's good.
Yeah, and then we get another cool shot of it, just kind of the camera pulling back and looking up into the sky, and we kind of just see Eden floating there again.
Yeah.
I do like this, I don't know, like it's kind of this kind of Vanille and Sazh kind of, there's a somewhat parental energy coming off of Sazh that maybe Vanille kind of leans into a little bit, which is kind of cute.
Mm.
Yeah, it's nice.
I do really like the dynamic between Sazh and Vanille. I really like what they have going on. Because, like you said, they're both kind of optimistic. They're not like opposites or anything like that, right? But like Sazh is an older guy. You know what I mean? We think he's a dad, right? Because of what he was saying, and so we're kind of like seeing this like interesting, like parental kind of thing going on between them, and I like that. And like Vanille not having any plan other than to just like run, and that's it. You know, it's cool.
It's starting to feel like a lighthearted version of like The Last of Us. Like stakes are also extremely high, but they're just like goofy time. Like no like. Just lighthearted fun.
It's more of a Thelma and Louise situation.
I'm excited for Sazh and Vanille to drive off the end of the cliff into the canyon.
Their Eidolon just becomes a cool convertible that they drive into the Grand Canyon.
Right. Yeah, they drive off the canyon and large on a giant garbage pile, and then Homer gets out of the car and kisses the junk. Anyway, so then we're over. We see Lightning, who's already walked a decent way away from Sazh and Vanille, and Hope catches up with her, right? And he's like, "Wait for me, I'm going with you." And she's like, "I can't babysit you anymore." And he goes, "Oh, I can fight. I'm not afraid." And then all of a sudden, Psychom appears,
I'm not
right?
afraid.
Do they get ambushed, right? Like,
right
I think
here.
their path behind them gets to like.
It gets blown up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're kind of cornered.
Lightning kind of just turns around and sees them, and they all have their guns pointed on it. And the body language from these soldiers, as well as their purple color, shows that it's not like the assholes that they took down last time with the guy being cocky, like holding his gun on his shoulder and trying to look cool and stuff. Like these ones are like out to complete their mission, which is just killing Hope and Lightning. And Lightning's like, great, a Psychom hit squad. And I wonder if she's like. It seems like she would have probably known that they were there and been okay if Hope hadn't had like distracted her and been like, hey, wait. She's like, I can't babysit. So I'm wondering if that's like raising a little bit of animosity for Lightning being like, this fucking, like, I just said I don't want to babysit you, and this is exactly why.
And she sounds pretty frustrated because, like, when they appear, she goes, "Oh, great, a Psychom hit squad."
Yeah,
like, she's like,
she doesn't seem like scared or anything. She's just like, "Oh, this is a pain in my neck." But one of the soldiers hits like a remote detonator and blows up something behind them, which causes a bunch of the debris to kind of collapse down and cut them off from where they just came from. So.
They're cornered, yeah.
They're cornered, and also Sazh and Vanille are not going to be able to get through that way.
Also, some of these soldiers look kind of similar to the ones that maybe had picked up Snow recently, because they have the kind of more knightly looking design.
Yeah, they don't have the same sort of like helmet ornamentation, but
we actually learn who they are.
I think they're in battle. They're called Corp, or I guess Core Gunner.
Core Gunners, yeah.
They also have
as in corpse.
Corpse Gunner.
They might be the first enemy since the first chapter he used it, but they have mana drives too.
Oh, cool.
And they use their mana drives to cast Bar Thunder to not let electric or lightning attacks.
Barth Under, yeah.
Barth Under.
Bart Hunder.
Bartholomew Under.
This is the Bart that everybody keeps talking about in Final Fantasy 13. Bart Thunder.
The Butts Thunder.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, basically that's
My
just a barrier.
son is also named Bar Thunder.
Yeah, that's a barrier attack. That's where the bar comes from. The man's name is Homer. I don't know what the boy's name is. Bar. What's the
name of the man?
But yeah, they can also use a mana drive cure on one another.
Yeah.
So I think there's one that I think it's a similar thing where they have different roles. Where they have some of them are using the Bar Thunder or the cure while the others attack. So a little bit more strategy has to go into this fight. Like take down the ones who are curing, they go down a little quicker, and then focus on the attacking ones.
Right.
Yeah. And they're not too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Especially now that we have like magic and stuff. Like it makes sense that at first we were kind of afraid of like Psycom and stuff, but we've since in the fiction of the world have also grown in power, even if it's just a chapter later.
We've learned the way of the Lassie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lightning seems, mildly impressed with Hope's performance.
Yeah.
This is their first time in, like, being together, I think, right?
Yeah, this is this first pairing, I think.
With the exception of the little, 10 minutes of it earlier.
He was part of the party, but he wasn't part of, the battle, lineup, I think, when we were traveling.
There was the Lightning and Hope section at the beginning of Chapter 4. The very first part of Chapter 4, where they separate and they do a little bit of battling, and then Lightning leaves Hope because she jumps up the cliff.
Oh, right, yeah.
I forgot about that.
We're still in Chapter 4, so you were technically correct, Alex.
The best kind of correct. But I will say, because this lasts for a little while, this begins my favorite part of the game, because I love everything about Lightning and Hope hanging out. It's my favorite part. It's my favorite interaction.
It is extremely endearing here.
I love it. I love it.
Going.
It's so good. We'll talk about it more as it goes, but their dynamic changes over time in a really interesting way that I'm excited to talk about when we get there. But I like right now we have hopeless Hope, you know what I mean? Who is a child, is not a murderer extraordinaire, and then Lightning, who is incredible at violence and incredibly stoic, right? And so seeing them interact, and he's trying to become stronger and become more like her right now is incredible. It's very good.
Yeah, it's really good. And Lightning after this battle says, "Not bad," and he's like, "Oh, really? Thanks."
Really, thanks.
He's really happy that he was able to impress Lightning a little bit.
Thanks, Mister.
Yeah, thanks, Mister.
any compliment coming from Lightning has got to feel good.
Oh, I'm sure. She doesn't look like she's the type to give them out very often.
Yeah, especially in something that she's proficient in,
You got moxie, kid.
Which is murder.
Which is murder.
But yeah, back on the other side of the rubble pile, Sazh is like, "Uh-oh, army's out to play."
Yeah, they kind of are implied to see that explosion.
What an optimistic way to describe it.
Yeah.
Fun time's over. Yeah. But yeah, Vanille's like, "What now?" And then well, we should stay here, but shouldn't we? And thinking for a second, maybe we should help out. And then, but Vanille's like, "How about we just run?"
Yeah. She's like, "Run?
Run?"
Yeah.
It was
we should run.
A little passive aggressively, maybe. It says if we rush in now, we'll just get in her way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how genuine that is when she's like, "Oh, if we go over there, we'll just get in her way. We should leave."
I'm sure part of it is kind of taking a little bit of a jab at Lightning, because that's just kind of how she would respond to it, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, let her deal with it." That's what she would want.
Yeah.
But it's effective on Sazh, because he's just like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's get the fuck out of here."
He says, "It's not like Lightning needs any help."
I mean, the whole reason he's in this mess is because he followed her. So
yeah. He should have got on another train.
He should have.
I mean, she told him to.
Yep.
He would have been purged by now.
Yeah.
He would be in his lovely little summer home on Pulse.
Yeah, he would have been successfully relocated.
He has a nice little villa down on Pulse.
Sipping Mai Tais.
And we're back to Hope and Lightning. And Hope is kind of, he's taken after Lightning a little bit. He's a little more goal-minded now, especially after Lightning's last speech, right? Where she's talking about like
her little pep talk where not even really a pep talk to him, her just talking about how she sees the world where you can keep going.
Right. And you can tell it kind of has moved him, right?
It's the last thing she said to him, I guess, before the last cutscene was like, if you have a goal, you can survive.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, yes, keep going.
Right. And
Hope says, yeah, there will be more soldiers. We should keep moving.
Yeah. And he says,
like, Lightning, are you worried about the others? I'm sure they got away okay.
Yeah, like he's kind of saying that, and I feel like Lightning like doesn't seem to really give a shit like either way.
Yeah.
So like Hope is kind of saying that more for himself because he knows that like she's not going to give him that comfort of being like, oh yeah, no, they're probably fine. So he just like has both sides of the conversation himself because he's probably worried about them. And when he's like, oh yeah, I'm sure they got away okay, Lightning just immediately like turns and she's like, so can you if you leave now. With me, it'll be fight after fight. I don't know how it'll end. It's anybody's guess. And Hope's so like, yeah, I know that, but I need to be stronger. And I fucking love this part so much.
I think it works on her too. Like,
like Lightning is like obviously starting to get endeared with Hope a little bit, and he goes Lightning, and she says, "Call me Light."
I know, it's very cute.
So cute.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Well, it's also kind of, I just realized is that the last interaction he saw with his mom was kind of a similar thing, where like Snow's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good
Oh,
parallel.
yeah.
There's like somewhat irony. It was like, no, I want to fight. Let me fight.
That's true.
And now he's basically doing the same thing.
Taking after his tough mom.
I also don't know that this is like intentional. I'm probably reading too far into this, but I do think that it's cute maybe that the original hero of the very first Final Fantasy is the Warrior of Light, and now she's just named Light. And I was
I
like,
100% thought the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
Big old thumbs up from all of us over here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Hope's like, okay, what's the plan from here? And Lightning's like, okay, we go through the Gapra Whitewood, which we've heard the song from it already. The song and
it's so good. When I got here in this playthrough, I was like, this song sounds familiar. And then I saw the title card come up, and I'm like, oh right, that's the title of the song. Like, hell yeah.
But she says we go through the Gapra Whitewood to Palampolum, and from there we find transport to Eden. And Hope's like, oh, I live in Palampolum. I can show you all the shortcuts. And she says, well, no side trips. And he's like, no need. I don't think Lucy are welcome at home. And like, it's just a very good little scene.
Yeah, it's really nice. He's like,
they're starting to get along.
We do have to make one quick pit stop to the best pizza shop that has the best mozzarella sticks. One last time before killing God.
You know what? I feel like that would be incredibly relatable. I feel like if I was about to do like a suicide march to kill God, I'd also want to stop off and get the best mozzarella as well.
Yeah, like if you have to cut through your hometown, like I would absolutely stop at Double Decker in Delco and get an inside out pizza if I could. Like,
is it still there?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because I live not too far from Delco and I haven't had it. So
oh my God, you have to.
The inside out pizza.
An inside out pizza. If you could get it delivered, that would be
I was say y'all talk about the next scene for a moment while I Google this.
Yeah, Hope's like we got to drop in for a good old pee slice, which is it's called pee pizza.
Pee slice,
pizza, yeah. Triple P.
Yeah, Palampolum pizza.
P squared is what all the cool younger kids are calling it, but the old heads just say the full name. You know.
I was say pee slice is the pizza place that KK Slider opens. Double Decker Pizza, the home of the original Inside Out Pizza in Media, Pennsylvania.
The Media one's not as good.
Is Ridley Park
Ridley Park's pretty good. That one might be closest to you.
I don't know that it's called Delco on here. I think it might be
it'll be in Glen Olden.
Glen Olden. Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, we're back to the Vile Peaks. I noticed that speaking of music, I did notice that there's like a weird like vocal sample buried in the mix.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to isolate what it is, but it's like really, it's unsettling because it sounds like there's like a weird like radio chatter happening.
Yeah, this is a really cool sound track on the soundtrack.
It's kind of a slow. I think in the early thousands it was called Cybient, which is like
cyber ambient.
It's like psytrance, but it's like at like 100 BPM instead of like 128 or whatever or 130. So it's just like very groovy, kind of low key.
It's like a bossa nova beat.
Eerie, but yeah, we go through. There's more of these core soldiers, right?
Yeah, the enemies change from like the creatures and like Pulsework soldiers that we were fighting last episode to SciComm and like their machines, right?
Yeah.
The core gunners and there's like some interesting
the Ulan.
It's like a weird flying like robot thing.
Yeah, which you can get the jump on the Ulan. I was able to do that. You can preemptive attack that guy.
They're basically like floating elephants.
Yeah, they're real cool. You fight one up on like
from the Winnie the Pooh fever dream thing.
Right.
Sorry, my voice cracked because I'm so afraid of that scene. The heffalumps and wasums or whatever the fuck.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a cool little area. There's some like little cross sections where you can go over a path or under one where you fight the Ulan at, which isn't too bad. That thing, it just has a lot of HP, but it's not tough.
Yeah, it's weak to lightning and water, which I think at this point
I think we're all weak to lightning.
True. But yeah, I think at this point, if you're in the Ravager role, you probably have access to that, so they're not too difficult.
Mm. Well, how do you spell Ulan again?
UHLAN.
What the fuck are these things? They're under the Golem class. Reminds me of like the tilters that we fought, but they're like more tanky looking.
Yeah, it's like a tilter without the human component.
Instead of being on their hind legs, they're more like gorilla, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of comparatively, they kind of lean forward and have like two large front legs.
Yeah.
But they kind of they still have the kind of weird like Art Deco curves to them, like some of the sweepers and things we've seen in other games.
Speaking of sweepers, the next thing that happens after this section of gameplay is we come up on some SciComm soldiers who are like messing around with one, or I guess it's a dreadnought in this game, but it's a sweeper. Yeah,
it's a sweeper. Yeah,
it's a sweeper.
It's a mega sweeper.
But yeah, there's some work. They're like working on one or like looking at it, and one says to the other, "Any trace of the Lassie?" And he's like, "Nothing. There's no sign that this has been activated." And while they're talking, Lightning and Hope are just like strolling up to them, just like very casually. And they like hear them and they turn around and they're like, "Oh, who's there?" And we,
"What's up, guys?" Dreadnoughts, eh?
Yeah.
Well, see you later.
Yeah. Hey guys, I've been looking around for Lassie, didn't see any. See you later.
It's funny. We kind of get a.
How
good
do
look.
they know that we're Lassie?
They got the goggles. They got the
eugenics goggles.
I would simply put like a scarf on or something around my brand and just be like, "Not me."
I guess it also is like, no, who else would be here?
I guess so.
And I'm sure they probably got debriefed on like what each member of the party that has been branded looks like.
Yeah, you imagine you like run in and you're like, "Guys, I found them, the Lassie, they're over there." And you like point some soldiers off.
You point to a giant tunnel that you painted on the wall, and they run into it. And
they all run into it. Yeah. They all run off a cliff.
And then they're like, "We're not falling for that one. We know that that's not a real train tunnel." And then they do somehow get hit by a train.
Yeah, they're not going to fall for it. They say as they run off the cliff, but they don't fall until they notice that there's nothing below them.
Yeah, they hold up a sign that says, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this a few episodes, but like, how did the SciComm like identify Snow as a Lassie? But yeah, I think we decided like, it's just like the first cutscene in Dirge of Cerberus where they can just like detect like Lassie and A.
They got those
Lassie
cool
and A.
goggles. Lassie and A. Nice. I like the guns that these guys have because they look just like fucking little kid like Nerf guns or like weird squirt guns or something. Like they don't look very threatening at all. And it's the same sort of thing. I think they're also gun blades because they kind of jab you with them.
They give you a little poke.
They give you a little poke. But they're not much of anything. You take them down real easy.
We take them down pretty easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hope was like, "What's SciComm doing here?" And Lightning is like, "Probably thought we'd try to use a pulse machine to escape." And Hope's like, "That's a good idea."
Yeah. He's like, "Ooh, now that you say that."
Why didn't I think of that?
And Lightning's like, "Don't touch that. You're going to hurt yourself," you know? And he's like, No, it's fine.
He immediately just like climbs on top of it.
Yeah.
Like there's no controls on it. He's just like, it's just a flat back. Like he straddles it like a horse, but there's like no like levers or cockpit or anything, but he somehow gets it going.
There's a very like I could only call it like DreamWorks scene where he's just like, "I'm gonna sit up here, whoa, now it's moving, whoa, how silly." And you know, like,
this is the plot of Ratatouille.
And and Hope leaves a giant wake of absolute destruction in his path as we carve our way through the next area with the sweeper or the dreadnought.
I also like that he has completely taken Lightning up, like, fully on being able to call her Light, because he's like, "Light, I think I can work this." Like,
yeah.
To me, that's just so... I love that Lightning's like, "You can call me Light."
Yeah.
Whatever, nerd.
I also like, there's a big a piece of trash It's like a wall that's keeping us from accessing the next area. And
it looks like a drawbridge kind of that they just pushed up.
And lightning is in between it and the dreadnought. And like Hope clearly doesn't have like the greatest of control of the dreadnought, and she like almost gets destroyed by it as he like punches it over.
Yeah, like she has to run out of the way as he's trying to knock it down.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. It would have been a very bad ending.
Yeah, then we get another primer about what we can do in this section, which is wild. It says pulse armaments. These Herculean combat machines are capable of clearing away enemy hordes with mighty blows, or simply trampling over foes who stand in their path. Attacking with X consumes power, but breaking through fences will recharge the machine's power reserves. While piloting an armament, enemies cannot harm the party. So Hercules exists in this world as well. He must also be a FFXIII.
I am going to look up real quick Dreadnought minigame, because
I don't know if there's any way to lose this, because you do lose energy. There's like 3 bars at the bottom, I guess, or sometimes 2, like little energy lights.
Yeah, like you start with no energy, but then when you crash through the first gate to like continue on the path, like you have to crash through this thing. You get 3 what look like dog tags, kind of, or like the necklace from Titanic or something, except like with an amber.
I think they're supposed to be like power cells, I guess.
Yeah. But you can kind of walk through, and it's extremely goofy. We see kind of just like at first I thought they were pulse enemies, but they look like just a different color of the pulse work soldiers, or I think that's what they're called, right?
Yeah.
The little robot guys, and just whacking them, and they go fucking flying in the other direction.
Really
it's like Shooting Star from Final Fantasy X, except a whole bunch of them in front of you.
This was giving me big like Hyrule.
Yeah.
Give me Hyrule Warriors vibes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just doing one slash and just people going flying off nowhere.
It's real dumb.
I was trying to consider like whether or not this is a mini game or not, because there's really no lose condition, and even though you only have 3,
it says you're invincible, so like what are we doing?
Yeah, and you only have the 3 punches, but once you're out of punches, if you just touch an enemy, they also die. So it's like, what's the point of punching anyway?
It's extremely weird. I'm not.
So I looked it up.
Oh, okay.
I did. Yeah, sorry. But you get 2 treasures at the end of this, and what's in those treasures is determined by what you do during the course of this little section.
Right.
Which it doesn't seem to be too important either way, frankly.
Yeah.
The first treasure is just solely determined on how many enemies you stopped during it, or how many enemies you killed. There are 43 enemies total. So if you kill all of them, you get a thunder ring. If you get 25 to 42, you get 20 materials. And if you don't kill that many, you just get 10 material. Which I guess is like some kind of like building material. I believe I got the thunder ring, but like again, it's just you just touch the enemies and then they die. It's not exactly hard. And then the second treasure is determined by how many enemies you defeated using the punch mechanic. And so if you only 24 or less is 100 gil, 39 or less is 300, and if you did 40 to 43 with just the punch, you get 999 gil.
Wow.
So it doesn't seem to be super important that you do it, because like 1,000 gil is not even enough to buy a Phoenix down. So like,
yeah, but I mean, also gil is very, very scarce. I think I got the 300 gil. Probably would have been nice to have the extra in a game where like we are in 4 chapters in, and it's very unlikely that you've hit anywhere close to 3,000 gil. From like my experience with it. But I think this is really goofy and kind of dumb, but that doesn't make it bad.
No, it's not bad.
I'm confused as to why this is in the game, but I'm also like, fuck it, it's fine. It's like a minute section, and it's it's goofy, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I was like, I needed a break from just hacking and slashing. I just wanted like a break from the monotonous battles, so it's just fun to like, have fun, kid.
Yeah, I agree. Which the way the mini game ends is pretty funny, I think.
I love it.
He just eats shit.
He just eats shit. Hope trips.
Hope comes up to a cliffside, and he's like very reminiscent of Sazh trying to like slowly climb down in that one episode on the hanging edge.
Yeah.
He's trying to like navigate this thing and make it walk to like get down the cliff.
It's very funny trying to see these like two little like legs,
little stubby legs,
trying to gain purchase on this like slope.
Yeah,
but like we had a jump mechanic though during the mini game. I think you just jump down it.
It's true.
But yeah, it just completely slips and then starts to fall over, and like the lights, the spotlights on the front of it start flickering and stuff.
Yeah,
and Hope just completely like falls off of it. And I thought he was gonna get like crushed by it.
Yeah.
And he just like completely eats shit. He's completely fine, but he's just kind of laying there and like a little freaked out. And Lightning just goes, "Nice landing." And then she's like standing all cool up on the cliff, and she does a cool jump down to it and stuff, and walks up to him.
God, she's so cool.
And she's still going. She's just like, all right, let's keep moving. And Hope's like, oh, give me just a minute. I'm still a bit winded. And she just says, "You're too soft," and just walks on without him. And he's like, wait up. And he tries to chase after her.
Yeah. He just, that's all it takes is to have him continue onward.
Yeah. But,
just some stern disapproval. And it'll get him going again.
Yeah, looks like I did get the spark
He
ring.
wants to impress her so bad.
Yeah.
whomst amongst us doesn't just love a little stern disapproval.
Yeah. It looks like I did, in fact, get the spark ring and 300 gil. So
Okay, I think that's what I got too. Yeah. Which, by the way, the spark ring, very, very useful for what's getting ready to happen next.
Yeah, if you already have one, I think from
We get another one.
gates.
Yeah, I think is it in this section we get another one?
Yes.
Yeah. But we received two of those. And speaking of which, let's take a real quick detour to say the spark ring, when you first get it, it has 20% electric, what would you call it? Damage reduction?
negation or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like in most Final Fantasies, if you found something like this, it would be like, oh, wear this and just the lightning doesn't affect you. Or like half maybe, right? Mm-hmm. But this only starts at 20%. But through upgrading it, that number increases significantly. So that's like the cool part of this, and why accessories also get to be upgraded.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and upgraded both of my lightning rings to maximum because I was like, I know what's getting ready to happen. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I forgot to put mine on.
Yeah, I think I also just didn't put mine on. Video game telling you, hey, equip this. You got two of these now. You have 2 party members. And I was just like, cool, I'm gonna just brute force my way through this next area.
and there is like the next area, there is a little bit of like actual running through battles and finding treasures and stuff, right? But it's not very much. There's no more events.
Yeah, nothing really super noteworthy. The area looks pretty similar to what we've already seen.
Right.
It's just more narrower, I guess.
Yeah.
Narrow corridors.
Yeah.
We're going downhill now instead of uphill.
We can walk across a bridge and we can jump off that, fall off that bridge without like one of those indicators. You kind of just I was expecting to just run against an invisible wall, but you kind of just slide off of it and fall down, and which was kind of surprising. But yeah, nothing really. Just more enemies. There's like a core regular, I think is what the name is, and more Ulans.
Yeah. Until we get to a clearing with a bridge, right? Like one of these drawbridges, and another cutscene begins. And the cutscene begins with Hope just tripping and eating shit. Because he's exhausted, you know what I mean? He said he was exhausted already, and he's pushing himself even further to catch up with Lightning. So I don't blame him for being completely out of it. I can't walk up the stairs without getting winded. So
Yeah, absolutely.
This cutscene also starts extremely intense because the boss fight music starts the same time as the cutscene starts.
Oh, is that true?
It's actually what I was actually just remembering, that the boss music in this, at least this boss theme, reminds me a lot of the boss theme you hear a lot in 10.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. It's very oh man, I'm getting scolded by lightning, and this really intense music is playing. This sounds
That's just accurate. That's just
with this, it just turns into a dialogue tree.
But yeah, she turns around and just says, "This isn't working. You're a liability." And she's digging into his ass. She says, "You'll just slow me down." Ended. I know. She's being really cruel to him. And Hope even is what? It comes out of nowhere, and he's like,
"You old pile of ropes."
you old pile of ropes. Yeah. Oh, you mean these? And he's even taken aback. He can't believe what he's hearing. He's like, "What are you saying?" And she goes, "Look, I'm sorry, but I can't protect you." And then she takes a knee, right? Like something's gone wrong. She looks like she's having a heart attack or something like that.
Yeah.
But she's pissing off through it, though.
Yeah, and Hope goes, "You can't leave me here. You have to take me with you." And she goes, "Enough. The whole world is against us. I can barely keep myself alive, let alone some helpless kid." And during this, she keeps having, like, spasms, right? Like, pain spasms.
That's also an interesting line. Like, this may be, like, some insecurity that's coming through a bit.
I think it is.
Yeah.
But she says, "I don't have time to baby you. You want to get tough? Do it on your own." And as she says that, we see, like, that, like a magic circle kind of appear around her, right?
That's a big old pink glyph.
Yeah, big glyph. And
I think I should compare this, but I'm wondering if it's the same when we go into her crystarium, because there's like a crystal and then out from it kind of furls like a big glyph.
Oh, I don't know.
I wonder if they match, but I think it's definitely the same color. Because hers is like, I think, yeah, much like the crystarium, looks almost kind of flower inspired.
Yeah, it's true. That flower like bursts out of the glyph, and then from that, a giant horse knight appears. Mm-hmm. And when I say horse knight, I mean like is not riding a horse, is just a giant man beast with some horse parts. Like,
yeah, he looks like a weird transformer.
Yeah, he has a giant shield, which is the back and the back of a horse. It's very weird.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that.
I didn't really notice the horse imagery until later when I reverse engineered it.
Yeah, okay. This seems like it would be a very cool toy in the 80s that you could, like a Transformer toy that folds in on itself.
I wonder if there's, now I'm wondering if there's Eidolon like Transformers.
The way that this knight is like colored and dressed, it almost looks kind of similar to like, what's his name? The Primarch. Like I see a lot of like white and like kind of flowy sort of thing. It almost looks like a religious ornamentation to what this
I feel like the Eidolons do too. Yeah, which now that I think about it, Snow's was the Shiva sisters, right? And this is Odin, so they are like religious figures.
There are Transformers you can get of the Final Fantasy XIII.
Really?
That fucking rules.
That's awesome.
I'm so glad these exist.
So that's what I was going to say about these, the Eidolons, right? Is that I believe we have the data log for them already, don't we? And
all of them?
Either we already had it or we get it here. And it does say in them that like they appear to Lassie who have like given up or like reached an impasse in their character. And so I think that like that's the thing, is that like Snow is always the ultra positive one, right? Like he's always like, oh, I can do this, whatever. I'm the hero, I'll never be killed. And then when you are outnumbered and outgunned and he's like given up fighting, that's when the Shiva sisters appear. And like so I think there is a bit of like Lightning dealing with her own issues is it being what causes Odin to appear, or like not dealing with her own issues, as you might say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I think those insecurities do kind of like manifest Odin. Also, this Transformer is incredible. They posted.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Frankly, for an action figure, that did not cost a lot when it came out for something that transforms. I mean, it's still expensive as shit, but like, but I feel like a transforming Hatsune Miku would be like $400.
Oh yeah, easily.
Goodness gracious!
They beat it $189.
Oh, now you go to their website and now it is $400.
Okay.
The one that it links to, so never mind.
I was like, that seems more about like how much it would be.
Thing rules. Maybe a little small one. If McDonald's did a tie-in.
Detailed as hell, though.
Anyway, we fight this Eidolon, and fucking damn, this thing melted me.
Yo, oh my god.
Yeah, I was saying, unlike the Shiva sisters, who kind of make sure you're fine, and just like you'll get it, Snow. Like either Doom will kill you, but I'll make sure you make it to that point.
Yeah.
But this one is like Doom is ticking away, but you have to really like.
You may not live to see Doom. Yeah.
You may have to keep your mitts up because this thing hits hard.
He's not throwing Cure on you at all.
No. This battle I think is in the top like 5 most difficult in the game. Like this is not an easy fight. And before, when I've played it, because like I said, I've played through this game multiple times and I've played the intro of the game more than that, so I'm like pretty familiar with it. And this is still a boss that I'm just like, oh, I just died like 5 times in a row. Well, I guess that's just the way it goes, you know what I mean? And before you fight it. So this time I did the unthinkable, the unconscionable, and I did go to the Final Fantasy wiki and was just like, what is his deal? Like, how does this fight work? And then I read about it, and I fucking smoked this fight. I was like, okay, I get it. I see.
I'm on easy, and I didn't look it up, but I did take me 4 tries.
Yeah.
Basically, I just kind of figured out how can I survive, because his Justall is ticking up a little bit, and because he kind of just goes for Hope immediately, and if you're not careful, he'll just almost certainly be dead by the time you get to the end of this.
If Hope doesn't have the lightning ring or whatever on, if he doesn't have
Spark
that,
ring.
Yeah, if he doesn't have the spark ring, his combo can kill Hope outright, just from full health. He just hits him out of the gate. You don't have any time to cast anything.
His attacks are what, like Skyward Swing?
Yeah. He has several, and with his combo move, he can just take out Hope immediately, like with nothing else going on. But in the middle of his combo, sometimes there will be like electric strikes, and if you have the spark ring, that can reduce it just enough so that Hope can live through it.
That's right. He does Thundara, Seismic Strike, which also hits hard. So yeah, basically after a few tries, I kind of like, okay, how am I going to like survive this? Because I figured out what worked. And he seemed pleased with. Because there's a point where he's like not just relentlessly just like turning you to salsa and puts his like giant shield up.
Uller's shield?
Uller's shield.
Yeah.
Uller's, which may be another like Nordic reference like Odin. I'm curious. What is Uller? It's a god associated with archery. Interesting. But he puts that up and kind of like stops attacking you for a bit, in which that gives you, for me, was the only time I had to attack.
Sure.
And that seemed to work.
Yeah.
So after like dying 3 times, like, okay, I'm just going to switch to double dose, which is when everyone's just medicing. I'm just going to endure this until he puts the shield up and then go to like all attack. Which seems to do the trick, because he wants you to like prove your strength, it seems like.
So the reason I was able to do it much easier this time that I couldn't before is that the things that make him his gauge build is being struck while he has his shield up or whatever, and curing yourself also does it. But in your paradigms that you have set up naturally, you have one where like Lightning is a commando and then Hope is a medic, right? And I would use that. That doesn't make him happy. Lightning being a medic does, though. And so I was always like, oh. And so this time I switched it around where Lightning was also a medic. And dude, he loves that shit. He loves Lightning being a medic.
That makes a lot of sense thematically.
It does, because it's her thing. Yeah.
I will say that when I saw you guys talking about the Odin fight, I was like, oh shit. Like, I really need to set some time aside to try and figure this out myself, and I was really expecting something. And like the first time I got into it, I didn't even really know what to do. I kind of just did like the scope thing, the Libra on him, and saw. And the only thing it says again is just like he's happy when he like rewards people who do chain bonuses. I was like, okay, so, and the other thing was just question mark. So I was trying to figure that out, and I was trying to figure out the good rolls, which I was still like not super dialed in with Hope and Lightning's dynamic together. And the first try I did, I think Hope got like knocked out. I'm like, fuck using a Phoenix down. I'm just going to restart because that was a dog shit attempt. And I started kind of just trying to strategize, knowing what I knew. And the second time I got a little further, but didn't really make much progress, and just ended up restarting again because it felt like I was just like selecting the wrong things, not because of like the battle or anything. I just like was like, oh, I didn't mean to go to that mode or use that ability. And then I think the third time I like went to the Crystarium beforehand, leveled up a little bit, and added different roles in the thing. I added yin and yang, which I forget what that one is. It is Lightning as a Ravager and Hope as a medic.
Okay.
And I just ended up doing enough like chain. I wasn't even focusing on the healing aspect of it. I think maybe with Hope doing it, that might have helped a little bit, but I was kind of just waiting for his shield to be up and attacking and trying to get as many chain bonuses off as I could and keeping them topped off with their HP as much as possible, and ended up getting it.
Okay, yeah. But
when I checked in the data logs afterwards, it does say that he like rewards people who focus on healing. So with Lightning being the one who heals Hope, it makes sense because this appeared right as she was like, get the fuck away from me, kid. I don't want, you're a liability. I don't want you around. And then suddenly it's like this being appears and just starts beating the shit out of him. And it's like, you need to like change your course and do something differently in order to continue, or you're going to die.
These fights remind me a lot of the Final Fantasy IV mirror fight.
Yeah.
Where like it's more, it's less about doing damage and more about like overcoming that character. And I like that. I think these are done very well in that way. And it is cool because, like, again, like we've been joking the whole time, like Lightning is the queen of violence, right? Like she's like aggression incarnate. And like, yeah, like after being so cruel to Hope, having a battle where like to overcome that, she has to heal him. It like makes a lot of sense. So I agree with you entirely. I think it's very well done.
That's really cool. I didn't think about it that way.
It's a cool meta thing too. And it's a very Final Fantasy 13 thing to do where we could have people listening who have gotten past this fight and been like, oh, what the fuck, whatever, I beat it. Like, I did that. I had no idea that the healing was a thing until after I read the data logs. And, like, it would be very easy to kind of miss that that's probably an intentional thing within the story at this exact moment, especially with what we know happens directly after this battle between Hope and Lightning. So it's very cool that it's, like, it's not just there on its face, it's there for you to kind of discover on your own, and that's really satisfying and really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Two things. I'm actually curious if we do shrouds work into Eidolon battles or Eidolon battles?
I don't know.
Because I'm curious, like if I turn on Fortisol, just pop a Fortisol, would I be able to like cast Bravery, Faith, and Haste going into this?
I don't know.
I have that save. Maybe I should try that. That'd be
I was gonna say like, well, for the next one. Which, yeah.
That'd be a cool little trick just to kind of speed things up. But also, like, going off of what Carl was saying, besides, like...
I had to use some Fortisol today.
I think 10, maybe. But, like, are there other games before 10 that really, like, made the summons, like, real in-world characters? Like, real part of, like, the narrative?
I guess 4 did with Rydia.
And with...
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
It's just like it's such part of like
6.
6 does
6. They're the main attraction.
8. Yeah, 8. Not necessarily individual ones, really, but the reason that they're in the game is pretty significant.
I'm just thinking of like things like 7, where like you get a cool summon, but they're never really addressed in the story that you have these summons.
Yeah,
I would say
they're just there in battle.
I would say 6 is the most summony in being important one or whatever.
Yeah,
where there's
like
literally
7,
a scene where a summon teaches you how babies are made. It's really good.
7, they're kind of just like...
They're just ultra crystallized materia, like ultra dense materia.
But yeah, I really like how they implement the summons into like the storytelling of this game so far. It's really cool.
By the looks of it, it's also the main affair in 16 when that comes out.
Oh, yeah.
From what I can tell, right?
From what the trailers that we've seen so far are about. Yeah, it seems very, very important.
Oh, yeah, I think the logo is of Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
And Ifrit.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that'd be really interesting. So you can catch us whenever that season is. Right.
Yeah, 15 years.
Yeah, 15 years from now, you can catch us for Final Fantasy 16.
But how about that Gestalt mode?
How about that Gestalt mode?
Or the finishing move, I should say, the finishing attack that when we do the transformation sequence.
It's extreme.
It's cool.
I love that Lightning and Odin do a little dance together, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Odin throws down his like double-ended sword.
Yeah.
His like weird sword scythe.
And he does a magical girl transformation with like...
Literally, there's rose petals that come up from it. He jumps into the air and takes like a cool pose and then just starts doing the the transformer thing.
Importantly, just before he starts doing the transformer thing, he takes Lightning's hand and throws her into the air and then he transforms.
No. So he kind of just his arms.
Oh, is that when you actually
That's when you use him. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
right now,
he
his arms like fold in on themselves and come out as like hooves, like a horse's legs, and we see a cool like transformation and stuff, and more of these like rose petals or sakura leaves or something, and we get this really cool shot.
Very romantic.
Yeah. The really cool shot of the moon, like a crescent moon, and just a giant fucking horse jumping in the air.
Cocoon has a moon? Inside is the moon fallacy.
I guess it's got to be a fallacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a weather balloon.
But I swear to God, the horse noise that gets played is the exact same one that the horses make in Ocarina of Time.
It's just the Wilhelm scream of horses.
Yeah, the horse Wilhelm scream. Yeah. But as that happens, he lands. very cutely kind of gallops, like little, like not like extreme
Comes in for a
strides or anything,
landing.
just a little fancy run, like a cat running down the hallway when they hear that you got food or something. Makes his way down to, you know, the earth, and Lightning grabs his weapon and pulls it out of the ground and jumps up onto his back, and it's extremely fucking kick-ass.
Yeah.
And then
They do their like cool move where he like rears up and it's their cool like
victory pose.
picturesque moment.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
Neato.
Very, very cool.
Indeed.
I noticed that all the Eidolons, maybe I'll get into it later when I extract the textures, but they have like runes, like Eidolic, I think they're called, like a language that the all of the Eidolons have that is separate from the Pulse and Cocoon language.
Nice. We'll have to decipher it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like after the battle's over, Lightning's kneeling once again, right? She's exhausted.
And her ATB gauge is huge now.
Yeah, she has
oh my God,
4 ATBs, is that right?
It goes almost all the way across.
I think that's
You were saying it gets smaller, but it actually does get bigger.
I was just I think it loads faster or something as well, because I think that it doesn't take as long as you would think that it would or whatever. Yeah, it looks like it goes a little bit faster.
and that's the same thing that happened with Snow, right? When he got his
Yeah, but we haven't used him since then.
Yeah.
Yet. And so Lightning is winded. She doesn't do her like must not fap pose or anything. She's just she just takes a knee. And Hope comments that your brand looks different, which I didn't even notice yet. But I guess everyone's brand kind of like transforms when they get an Eidolon.
Yeah.
But yeah, was that an Eidolon like Lassie can summon?
Yes, he says magic and mumbo jumbo. I must have hit my head on the purge train. And she gets up, right, and is like getting ready to walk away again. And Hope is like, am I really in your way? I'll do better. I'll try harder. And she stops him and is like, we'll toughen you up. I'm sorry about before. And I'm like, oh, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah.
And she apologizes to him and is like, it's okay. We'll get you there.
Let's get down to business to destroy Eden.
It's really cool. There was actually a question that I had when we first started this fight that I completely forgot about because I had to, restart it a couple of times. But when Lightning like takes the knee and like Odin starts appearing in front of her, she goes like, this can't be happening right now. Like she says it in a way where it didn't seem like she was like, what the fuck is any of this? I was like, is this just a thing that everyone knows exists? Is this and with hoping like, oh, was that an Eidolon? Like, it seems to stand to reason that Lightning might have known exactly kind of what was happening. Is like, oh fuck, this can't be happening right now.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
That's kind of what I was taking away from it.
This is not the time for this.
This is not the time to have a god make me force a character change.
Yeah. And just like seeing some crazy shit happening and being like, I just don't have time for whatever crazy shit this is. But yeah.
Let me girl boss uninterrupted, please.
But we have a little more gameplay section, right? We go through. And then we get a scene where some soldiers pop up on them. They see them. They go, oh, let's see. And Lightning's like, do you got my back? And Hope's like, oh, yeah. And they have like a nice little moment like that. And then we get a tutorial in this battle about Gestalt mode and summoning. And summons are done using TP, much like Libra.
Yeah. And it uses a lot more TP. It uses, I think, 3 points. So I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, this isn't free.
Which makes sense. I mean,
it also says that, Lightning can spend technical points to summon Odin, her personal Eidolon. Only Lightning can summon Odin. So, like, we obviously have 2 now, or we've experienced 2 of these things, but it's not interchangeable. It's not like, oh, well, let me just, put this in the materia slot and then anyone can summon it. It's like, no. They're specific roles for each character. Which makes sense. That's how everything in the battle system seems to be.
And I will say, I'm not 100% comfortable or knowledgeable about like the right time to use summons. Because when we use one, we get rid of the other characters in the battle besides the summoner, right? So like when Lightning summons Odin, Hope leaves the field for the moment.
Much like 10, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it just turns into a different type of fight for a little bit.
Yeah, very similar to 10.
I could be wrong, but a lot of times I feel like my party is much more efficient than having a summon out. And so I'm like, do I really want to like handicap myself with a summon? And that may not be right. You know what I mean? I know like the speedrun uses summons a lot, so they have to be super damaging, but I'm not sure how to make it work.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like some stats that, some battles in which the summons would be extremely effective against certain enemies.
You can look forward to our next episode with Zwanzig on it.
Yeah.
Maybe because of some immunities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of them cannot be debuffed, which is good.
I think it's also...
And they have no stagger points.
It's also similar to the rest of the battle system and dissimilar to 10, where the summon will come out and it'll just do its own thing. And then you can kind of do some course correcting, but like you're still controlling lightning, but there's a particular mode that you can get into with the Gestalt meter, where there's like 2 Gestalt meters, one for lightning and one for the Eidolon. And eventually you can kind of just do like the super move or whatever, where you jump onto your Eidolon's back to do some moves that have like weird button combinations to try and use and stuff. And it didn't really make a whole lot of sense in my first instance of doing it through the tutorial, because they pretty much just have you summon it right away. I still had a significant chunk of the battle left after doing this and doing like the cool move with the name that we all know from previous iterations of Odin.
Xantasuken. Oh, wait, what is it?
Yeah. So I was just like, that seems cool, but I need to learn how to use it because that just seemed like a waste.
I just went to gamerguides.com /FF13/guide/introduction/tutorials/Gestalt mode. And I'm reading about it here, and I see what they're saying now. So what they're saying is when you summon your Eidolon, right? They appear alongside you, they operate automatically. And as the fight progresses, there's a little purple bar below the summoner's name that increases over time, right? And I didn't know what that translated to, like damage or whatever, right? And during this, the summon themselves have an SP, which is their HP essentially. Is their HP and the amount of time that they can stay around on the battlefield. So that's always decreasing, and as they take quote unquote damage, that decreases further. If that bar goes all the way down, they leave the fight. And at any time, you can press X to enter Gestalt mode. What I didn't know was like, what's the deal with Square? Yeah. Well, I was like, what's the deal with that purple bar under the summoner's name? Like, why does that matter, right? And the higher it is, the more points you enter the Gestalt phase with.
Okay.
So where you have like the button combinations. Yeah.
You can do more of the button combination moves. Nice.
Right. Because
the Gestalt dial, I like. It brings up a whole new type of combat, which is just the UI shows you a dial instead of just a menu.
Yeah. And I'm still not sure.
So it gives you the amount of moves you have that you can use, I guess. Yeah. Because it's just like a little countdown. So like certain moves, I think, use a certain amount of points.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I'm looking at a tutorial right now. So like it says like auto gestalt, then like a move that costs 2, 3, 3, 4, and then all, which is the Xantasuken or whatever.
And and I just use all the points until I have one left, and then throw the all one in there. Which is that the best way to do it? I don't really know. I'm not sure. Because I'm not really sure what, like there's multiple attacks that use, like, 3 of the points. And, like, what's the difference between them? I don't know.
Yeah. It's also notable. I was just kind of like in like timer mode where I'm like, oh no, I only have so much time. What am I going to do? And I see all of these different cool like combinations I can do for like Razor Gale or Lightning Strike or Stormblade. But I saw Xantasuken and I was like, oh, I know that one. I didn't even notice that it has a level 1 next to it. So I guess we'll also be able to level that up, which is super cool. I was just like, I want to try that one. Didn't even notice I had like points or anything. So it seems like this is almost similar to Zell's Limit Break in 8, where you can kind of, if you go fast enough, you can kind of get multiple ones off. I might be incorrect about that because I just immediately spent all the points.
Sure, yeah.
Just maybe because it was just throwing so much at me. Like I had no idea. If like, do we have a time or what's happening? Because before we hit Gestalt mode, like we had a timer going, so I was like feeling a little rushed. But now, like watching a walkthrough, I can see like, okay, you have like an allowance, and how you spend them is up to you.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's like kind of a controlled finishing pizzazz.
Yeah.
It's cool too in this battle. You can, if you like see the animation where, lightning does the move or whatever, you can actually see Eden in the sky behind you, which I think is pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't notice that because I'm just confused that his staff, which is double-ended, can turn into 2 swords that she can use. That's cool. But I love her like finishing move where she does a little spin around, and then she lands right in front of the horse, and then just hands the horse. The horse just grabs the weapon and clops off like, all right, see you later. And she says, until next time.
Big gulps, huh? It's funny too, because I got back into the battle and I still had to do a lot of damage to the Ulins, and Hope was just back in the battle as well, and he was right near one of the Ulins who was in like an animation to go like elsewhere, and they kind of just float. So Hope's just standing there and getting pushed along by the enemy as it's like doing its animation. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, so we finished that battle.
Yeah, how did you all do? I guess even though it was a tutorial battle. Oh, I don't know.
I don't have my stats for that one. I figured it wasn't a boss, so I was like...
I did bad. I got 3 stars. It was like... The target time was like 2 minutes and 39 seconds. I got 2 minutes and 28 seconds. So this starts a whole chapter of me getting 0 stars or like very low stars.
Yo, like when we talk about the next section, my word.
Yeah.
I sometimes wish you could like there was an option to restart even after you finish the battle.
Yeah,
try again for a better time.
That's the funny thing about this game is like even when you win battles, you don't necessarily feel like you win battles. And it's like it's interesting that the game like it doesn't carry over status effects or HP or anything from previous battles. So
there's no healing between battles like in other games.
Yeah, like you don't have to worry about that. Like it's
you just have a couple of moments with your shame.
Yeah, you're just like, fuck, I didn't get 5 stars. I fucking suck at this game. I won the battle.
Well, that leads us into the last cutscene of this area, right? Where Lightning and Hope kind of find an outcropping to kind of like chill in. And Lightning says, we'll stop here. And Hope's like, oh, sorry. Like he's clearly winded.
Hope's doubled over. Like he's very at the end of his rope.
And she says, don't sweat it. I'll look around and you rest up. And he is like, yes, like he doesn't say anything, but he just sits down and like definitely starts resting. And a little time passes, like we get a little fade out, fade in to kind of show that some time has passed. And Hope is asleep, and Lightning seems to be like resting. Like she's kind of conscious still, but like just chilling, taking it easy. And in Hope's sleep, he kind of like stirs a little bit and says, "Mom," and Lightning laughs to herself and goes, "Not by a long shot."
Yeah. It's not like a haha stupid kid thing. It's kind of like I got the sense that she kind of feels bad. She's like, huh, like she's scoffing at herself, not at Hope.
I think she was referring to herself in a way that like she's nearby and Hope's like, oh, Mom. And she goes, yeah, I'm not your mom, not by a long shot.
Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't really her being like, oh, like you stupid kid, like stop crying for your mom.
No.
It definitely seems more like I'm sorry, I'm not your mom.
Yeah.
It's my character flaw, not yours.
I do think that maybe there is some like maybe her as an older sister is kind of warming up to having warming up to having Hope around because she doesn't have Sarah around right now. And so,
yeah, I think so. I love their dynamic. I really do.
A much softer face too, like not quite a smile, but almost a smile.
She just smirks a little bit at it. Yeah,
it's just like this is ridiculous kind of.
Yeah. It made me think when I saw this scene. I was like, yo, Hope's mom just died earlier today. Like it's still the same day.
Mm-hmm. He's had a fucking terrible day.
What a day. Yeah.
He's been just running and running and running.
Yeah.
It's been weeks for us.
It's been weeks, months even. Yeah. For him, it's just like earlier today. Yeah.
Woof.
But I think we should, in fact, take a break there.
Yes.
And then come back and try to smash through the next section.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
let's do it. What is a time signature?
What are time signatures?
What is music?
we just don't know.
I still got Sazh's theme piping through my headset as we're talking. So
I didn't hit record until after this, but I just wanted everyone to know that like we began to talk about Saz's theme, the theme for this next area, and we're immediately like, we need to record right now because this is good content, because Saz's theme is great.
Yeah, Alex was just kind of snapping along to it and counting it, and he was like, "Oh, that's weird. It's like, the time signature is like it's in 6 and then it's in 5." And like I pulled up the sheet music, and like absolutely, like the first I think 2 or 3 measures are 6, and then it switches to 5. It's so strange.
It's good.
Yeah, it's just a little strange. Like at first thought I was in 5, and then like it adds an extra measure at the end of it, so it's like almost like Cinco de Chocobo from Final Fantasy VII, which is a homage to like Dave Brubeck Take 5, but they add an extra beat on every other measure, so it has this kind of funky little like it turns into jazz, then waltz, and then jazz, and then waltz. Like, over and over again.
It's really, really cool. Like jazz is the perfect way to describe it, just because obviously changing time signature and just kind of it feels like free form, but it's very structured as well.
But it's very jaunty because it's just like a little like kind of like almost ukulele, or I guess it sounds like a small acoustic guitar, kind of just like strumming along. It's very,
like horns.
Really nice walking upright bass, just solo like throughout it. Very, very seems like it would fit in perfectly in Cowboy Bebop, which this area also feels like it would fit in Cowboy Bebop. We kind of get.
I mean, his fashion is very Cowboy Bebop. He's kind of a cowboy, kind of a pilot.
Yeah, he would absolutely fit in with that squad.
But it's chill. But yeah, we come into this big, like, a gorge kind of that's filled with factories and mining equipment, and it basically looks like just an old mining area.
I love the name of this section, which is scrap processing.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it seem like it's a Half-Life area.
Yeah, I also love just the first shot that we get of it that kind of shows an overview of the area. A lot of scaffolding, a lot of like, precarious kind of things like between the pathways between the cliffs and stuff. But there's just 2 giant wheels that are like alternating. Almost looks like they're gears, but they're separated enough. But I saw this.
I think they're supposed to carry buckets of like ore.
I wrote in my notes, like one of my notes is just bucket excavator with an exclamation point. My favorite kind of excavator.
I saw that and I was like, oh, it's just like in Blighttown. I can take one of these down and then I can take the other one up, and it's going to be cool platforming. But no, that's not. It's just for
you do get to walk between them. Which is neat.
True. But not a cool elevator, but a cool looking set nonetheless.
Yeah. I do like it quite a lot.
We enter from somewhere above, and
no sign of soldiers.
Guess lightning got their attention.
I wonder how Hope's doing.
They were headed towards Palimpolum. Kid's on his way home. You can bet on it.
Good for him.
Sazh is like, his face kind of darkens, and she's like, what's wrong? And he goes, it's good if they can manage to slip in quietly. All of Cocoon is in the grip of pulse phobia. If a l'Cie pops up on the radar, all hell will break loose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she goes, they don't even know why they're scared. And he's like, well, they're afraid of what they don't know and afraid to find out more. And it gets worse the older you get. I'm terrified of what will happen. The world probably would be better off without Pulse l'Cie. And he like looks at Vanille, and Vanille's like clearly taking like offense to saying that.
Excuse me?
Yeah, literally talking about themselves.
Yeah, and he goes, oh, I mean, most of them. And she goes, oh, gee, thanks. Like, very sarcastically. And just goes, let's go. And, like, continues on.
Let's go.
Yeah, really cute. Like, just him talking about how, very relatable thing of, like, the more things change, people just don't want that to happen. And people fear the unknown and don't want to learn about what makes it unknown. And that's how prejudices start and stuff. And him saying, like, oh, yeah, it's even worse when you get older. And then immediately saying, like, the thing that has been standard throughout everyone's life, even though like they're being faced with direct evidence that should not be the case. And he's like, oh yeah, shit, sorry.
I like Vanille is very much a archetype of like anime, I guess, where like she's like the very bubbly, goofy one or whatever. But like we see in this scene and all the scenes before that is like a coping mechanism for her or whatever, that every time like they have to face something very serious, she's like, oh well, I guess here we go, let's go, even after like Sazh says that and she's like clearly hurt by it, she's just let's go on, here we go, skipping off.
When she says like, gee, thanks, it's not like, wow dude, I'm fucking right here, like just like it wasn't like it was more playful than that.
So anyone else immediately go backwards?
Yes.
Because I saw on the map, like, we start kind of down a hill. I think she just started because of after the pulse armament sequence, where we crash, we can actually go up a ledge or two where there's like nothing up there. And like, all right, maybe there would be something here if we did better or something like that. But like immediately we start like on a platform, but we can go back up the hill. Yeah. And even Vanille's like,
we're going back.
Yeah. And there is something back there. It's not great, but I forget what it is.
No, it's a Phoenix Down. I'll take any of those I can get.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough.
I can sell those.
Do they sell for good money?
I don't know.
Probably.
Okay. In real life, they probably do.
Oh, God, yeah.
But yeah, we get a new enemy here. Our old enemy, a new design, I guess.
Oh, yeah, super cool. Yeah. I saw this and I was like, what the fuck is this stupid thing?
What's this D20 doing out here?
You know, I was going to say, I love a dodecahedron so much.
But it first looks like a normal dodecahedron.
Wait, is it or is it an icosahedron? I gotta look it up now.
Icosahedron. It's a D20, more or less.
I was in all the dumb math classes when I was in high school, so I have no idea.
But if you look closely, it does have eyes and some spiky mouth. Yeah.
Oh my God, it does.
As you attack it, it kind of changes around. It gets some flames coming out of it, and it starts growing some spikes and things of that nature.
It's like, oh, this looks familiar. But it's a bomb. As we our old friend from every game, but it just starts its like docile form. It's
a D&D 20-sided die.
It's a man-made bomb, I guess, because it's weird. Like, its front face does have a little bit of like kind of organic nature, but its eyes and everything else looks more cybernetic.
Yeah.
But once it like flames up, you go like, oh yeah, that's definitely a bomb from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like there's points where there's flashes of that. Like I think I was able to kill one of them while it was like in its classic Final Fantasy bomb form. So like when it like turned purple and like was melting away or whatever, it just looked like an actual bomb, and I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, I noticed like as its health goes down, or it actually different panels go like turn off. It's kind of cool.
Very interesting way to go about bombs.
I had to look it up. I'm sorry. I was like, is it a dodecahedron? It is an icosahedron, so that is what it is, which is a 20-sided one. It's not. But yeah, I was like, wait, no, dodecahedron's 12. This is not that. This is an icosahedron. Anyway, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention to any of what you all were saying, so I apologize.
That is quite all right.
But much like all bombs, you kind of want to take them out before they explode.
Yes, they can do a lot of damage.
I definitely got by an explosion when I was fighting the second battle where it's the second battle with them where it's 2, and Sazh was just like right next to one facing the other one that was behind him as the other one was self-destructing, and like I was just like, oh my God, like I had 408 HP and it hit me for 411. So I was just like, well, Sazh is dead. Like it's over.
Did you all say that they start with half their HP?
No, we did not.
They start with half their HP.
Yeah, and then they start gradually gaining it back, I guess, because they can absorb fire.
Oh yeah,
which is interesting. I don't know if they cast it on one another or not, or
it's just when they hit you with a physical attack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it gives it to them. And when they reach full HP, that's when they use self-destruct.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They get more and more orange, I'm guessing. Because when you first encounter them, they are like half lit up. Only they're like half orange and purple.
Oh, you know what? I'm actually looking at it now. This is super cool. I'm looking at it in like the when you use Libra and just check its stats. You can kind of see there's all the triangles that like make up the shape that you guys keep saying that I don't.
Icosahedron.
The shape of the icosahedron. You can kind of see like the classic when it's orange. There's like classic things, almost like a sliding puzzle, like a 15 puzzle kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's so interesting. That's so
I didn't even notice
weird.
that there was an eye or anything on it.
Yeah, like there's an eye and kind of the mouth. Looks like it has a Wi-Fi signal as well.
This thing's got all the features.
Oh, it says here, there's actually concept art for a different kind of bomb for this game that looks more like a traditional bomb.
Interesting. Yeah, I had quite a few battles that ended with me just tanking a self-destruct. Where I like killed the one bomb and then got self-destructed by the other. I'm like, hey, so a win's a win.
But besides those, I think we mostly just fight those in pulse armaments through this area, right? Oh, and Carl brought these guys up the other day, Gremlins.
Oh my God!
I do love the Gremlins. I just posted the unused concept art for the bomb.
Oh really?
Yeah. Anytime I saw the Gremlins, I was just singing Nick Lutzko's "Where Did the Gremlins Go" to myself.
Oh, those things are cool. They look more mechanical.
It was like a little motorcycle engine or something, yeah. The unused bomb.
Look real evil looking. Real fucked up.
But yes, gremlins, sorry. I love these little guys.
They're cute.
Yeah, they do not look like gremlins. I saw them and I was like, what the fuck is this Wall-E Eve bullshit? Like, they look almost like little owls that, like, Pope owls.
They look like purged owls.
Oh my god, it's so cute. I didn't see their idle animation when I was fighting them, but they kind of just have their hands out and they do like a little scuttle dance.
Yeah.
It's like there's a bunch of things trending now where there's the little guy dancing on the floor and then he starts break dancing to that one song.
I love
there's like a
that.
bunch of animation. It just looks like that's what the gremlin's doing.
That's what I'll work on tonight is a little animation of the gremlin like doing the breakdance in front of Sazh.
I fucking love this gremlin. It's so cute.
They have no fucking HP.
Yeah, they're very easy to tear down.
You
And
just
they're
melt through
weak to they're weak to I think wind and fire, which is nice because Sazh has wind and fire.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
They look kind of like a Pokemon. I cannot place which one though.
I can't wait till we hit September in this game so that Sazh can unlock the earth element as well, so we can have both earth, wind, and fire.
Can I also say that I do like the way that Sazh casts his magic? He has like a cool like underhand lob when he does it. It's like it's very stylish. Like I really like his animations for that.
He's real loose. I like it.
Yeah, he's
except
cool
for his normal running animation. Looks like he has some
it's so
up his
clunky
butt.
and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he looks like me running because I have like a bad lower back. He's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's weird how like uptight he looks when he's like running around, but in battle, like it looks real.
He's loosey goosey in battle, baby.
Yeah, it's real good.
Like he's shaking it out.
He's almost as loosey goosey as Godot, but
No one
nobody's
could
that
possibly be that loosey goosey.
But yeah, there's a lot of Machina around here, and there's no power.
There's no power.
Yeah.
That's a recurring thing. Is like every time we find a piece of machinery, there's just no power to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not too much in this area, right?
Not yet.
And this section of the gorge, I should say.
Right. Until we
pass
get to
through-
the next section of the gorge.
Yeah, we go through kind of an intermediate area where we pass through a bunch of gremlins and basically enter like another section where there's looks like a big old power plant.
Yeah, it looks like a big power plant.
A generator.
And there's 4 individual units on the around the perimeter of it that we can go to each one and turn it on, right? And I will say this, I have so the location that I work at has UPS supplies, like big power devices that kind of look like this, frankly. Like the screens on the right side and like the actual section that holds the power is on the correct side. I was like, well, that's just a UPS and PDU right there. That's accurate. That's what that looks like.
But yeah, like we have to kind of go around this big power plant to just turn on 4 panels, as Sazh clarifies. But
yeah, or else we can't get to the next section. There's like a barrier that prevents us from going in.
Yeah, I was curious if it doesn't matter which direction you go in. There's like encounters at each of them. You can get some preemptive strikes. Probably a lot better if you use Deceptisol, but I'm going to be hoarding those for the entire game, I'm sure.
Yep. I used one coming up.
Because these battles, especially against the Pulsework soldiers, we are not really equipped to do too much too quickly to them, or at least in a way that I could figure out.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
These Pulsework soldiers, do their stagger gauges deplete way faster? Because when I fought the Pulsework soldiers in the last area, I could take them out no problem. I mean, I had plenty of time. And these ones, like, they're the same enemy. It's not a new enemy type, I don't think. But like, yeah, I would fucking barely punch it in, or I wouldn't make it at all to be able to take them out and have to like stagger them twice.
It depends on the stats of whoever triggers the stagger.
I think the only time I've been able to get staggers on them, it wasn't as frequent like you were saying, but it was I had to like do the setup stage. Like I had to, get into the Synergist and Saboteur role immediately and get everything going. Just
but
to be able
after
to stagger them.
you stagger them, like once they're in stagger and then it begins to deplete, I feel like that phase depleted a lot faster.
It probably, I wasn't able to tell because usually their HP was so low by the time I could even get them staggered to begin with that I didn't even notice.
Mm-hmm. I could be wrong about that, but I was just noticing that I wasn't finishing them off within one stagger bar time like I was the last ones.
Yeah, I saw. I was actually standing near one of the bombs in one of those fights, like right after after the battle ended. So I came back into the world where we are, and I see it disintegrate, and that's when it looked very similar to the bomb. I'll send you guys a picture. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, these fights with the pulse work took forever for me. I think for a while I would switch to Tide Turner just to get like enough buffs and debuffs going, and then switch to Dual Caster and try to time it so Sazh and Vanille were casting at the same time, so just to push it into stagger.
Yeah,
and it was so frustrating trying to get them to line up because like it would like almost reach and then deplete, and then Sazh would do it and it would almost reach and like.
I would start him off with one round of Commando with Sazh, and that usually would give him just enough of the retention to be able to do like 2 rounds of dual casting to get him over the edge.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's it wasn't until I got to like the 4th panel that I had to power on, but that's when I finally unlocked Blitz with Sazh, and I was trying to wait until they were super close to me so I could just maximize the amount of hits that I did, and it was so good. And I could definitely see that it seemed to be way more effective than just doing nothing but attack the whole time. If I could land enough of the hits, I was just like, yes, dude.
I also got Blitz in this area, and what's really fun with Blitz is when you do get that preemptive strike, because you have a lot of enemies almost in stagger, and you have to like choose which one you want to stagger and go after, and then the rest of them lose their stagger gauge. But using Saz's Blitz, you can just hit everybody on the screen and keep all of their stagger gauges up, and you just keep using Blitz so that when you're done with one, the next one's ready to stagger, and then the next one's ready to stagger, and you just stagger, and you just go through all of them that way. It's fucking
really good.
Love that attack.
Very, very satisfying seeing all the numbers that happen.
I'm just noticing the Pulsework soldiers have a really funny animation when they turn around. Their top half spins and then their legs spin around. So they like turn around separately. It's pretty silly.
Yeah, Carl just posted a picture in the Discord of the bomb disintegrating, and you can see its little spikes and little arms.
Yeah, it's really cool because you can actually see it go from like the 20-sided die to the bomb.
I'm gonna post in our Discord the original concept art for the bomb before the game even started getting made.
You son of a bitch.
That's and for the listener, I have posted the image from the Wikipedia for Isacosahedron. Anyway. Oh yeah, Alex, that one you posted. Damn, I didn't even notice that. That 2 eyes, a mouth, and
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's one of these things that like if you're not looking closely, you probably would never really notice it.
I sure didn't.
These battles don't really lend enough time for you to kind of experiment with like how to get all of the faces to be, the orange one.
Yeah,
there's actually a thing where I didn't realize it was a bomb until I saw it flare up. I'm like, wait a second,
yeah,
because I didn't like see what the name of the enemy was at first.
Yeah.
But we finally get to, all of the things, and Sazh says, pulse machines can't be that different, as he's like poking around at the one to turn on the final generator. And then we get just a cool little cutscene of the mechanism that we were powering turn on. There's like a bunch of little tubes that start glowing with some sort of power.
Say, what is it? Some sort of tube?
Very reminiscent of Nibelheim, the reactor in Nibelheim, because it's just surrounded by all these cliffs and just nature, like stone structures from nature, but clearly a power structure. And it kind of starts just sending electricity everywhere throughout the place that we've just been.
The corridors around it are now accessible as well, so you can go straight through this area instead of going around the outer perimeter.
That's right.
Which is nice. There's also an item down there. I forget what it is.
We have our first section of the game where we can backtrack to good effect as well.
Oh shit, I did not do any backtracking, I don't think.
So how
I did see all the stairs on the way there, and I was talking to myself about how it looks like it's setting itself up to backtrack. But then I, for whatever reason, just continued on to this part where during this cutscene, as everything's powering on, a giant door opens that is the next area that we need to go. And we just kind of see 2 of the Pulsework soldiers and 2 bombs coming out. And it says, Sazh says, not the only thing we woke up, huh? And then he says, we can take them.
Without taking too long to talk about it, because it's not that crazy or whatever. Basically, there's a series of like elevators and stairs and extra paths that we can take in the previous area, because we can now turn on the devices that are there. And the important part is there are 2 battles in this area that I just can solidly say go fuck those battles. Those suck. There's one with 3 Pulsework soldiers at once, which sucks. So I used Deceptisol on that one. I said, fuck this shit. I'm just Deceptisoling through it. It's fine.
Oh, I used Deceptisol to backtrack, actually, because I don't feel like dealing with these enemies right now.
And then there's one with 3 bombs and 2 Pulsework soldiers. And I had to Fortisol my way through that because I couldn't kill all the bombs before they could self-destruct, right? Like, they would self-destruct. And they would just hit Sazh and immediately kill him. And I was like, what the fuck? So I Fortisoled, killed one exploded on Vanille, one exploded on Sazh, but I had the Fortisol, so they both survived with like double-digit HP, so I had like 40 HP left, and I was able to heal back up and then take out the other 2 Pulsework soldiers. So like, fuck those fights.
I think at this point, too, we have 2 of the flame rings or fire rings or whatever that help negate fire attacks, which I think does make a significant difference.
Yeah. Yeah, without leveling them up, they're also 20%, but you can upgrade them.
Yeah,
better.
Exactly.
But yeah, backtracking, I love that there's near the exit to the first half, there's like the elevator that you can go up, and like Sazh is like, elevator master.
Yeah, I do like that too, yeah.
But they lead off to a few paths into one of, I think, the one with the 3 Pulsework, there's like something inside of the containers it comes from.
It's actually in its container, yeah.
I forget what was in that one. It might have been...
Was it the Auric Amulet?
Oh yeah, there was an amulet in one of those.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, I did get that. So maybe I did do backtracking without even realizing it or something.
I don't know. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that one.
That might be actually towards the exit.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's probably the one that you can still get beyond the battle that's blocking you to progress.
I think a lot of them are just like really good crafting items, like iron shells.
Oh, that's right. The one that's in the container is Vibrant Ooze, now that I think about it.
Right.
Man,
and I remember that because I went into the inventory and I looked up what the description for Vibrant Ooze is. And it was like, yo, this ooze looks so appetizing you could eat it. And I was like, I'm always wanting to chow down on that ooze.
Let me look it up.
Just sucking down the ooze.
Secret of the Ooze.
I got it.
A brightly colored, translucent secretion that actually looks rather appetizing.
That's it. It looks rather appetizing.
But yeah, so it's mostly just the ooze and the iron shells, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just the 2 items.
That's right.
But yeah.
Then we can move on from there.
Now we can go back for it, run past all the gremlins.
There's one more cutscene.
Yeah, as we're making our way out, there is that Aritic ring or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a chest on our way out of the down the tunnel.
Oh yeah, that one's the 300 gil. Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. But we trigger another cutscene, right?
Yeah, so we kind of just see a nice shot of like 3 waterfalls kind of off in the distance, and it's
looking a little more vibrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of leaving the Vile Peaks now.
Starting to see some more green on the ground a little bit.
Yeah, it's like we're about to enter the Macalania Woods or something.
Yeah, kind of.
We see Sazh and Vanille kind of walking forward, and
there's some junk around, but we're more or less like in a nice kind of safe clearing. And Sazh's like, yeah, we should probably sleep here, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, does this place look okay? And Vanille's like, yeah, fine by me.
He like grabs like
a tapestry or something.
Yeah, like a tapestry, yeah, and like pulls it out from some like garbage, and like
it's probably real stinky, honestly. I would not sleep on it. I'd rather sleep on the ground, at least. Yeah. Anytime I see some cloth at a junkyard, it's like wet and like moldy. And, like,
right. She like kind of whips it and gets some of the dust off of it and lays it down on the ground and says, all set and all right, good night. And Sazh is just like, not a care in the world. And she goes, oh, like she forgot something, and picks up like a nearby stick and draws like a line in the dirt around herself, right? And Sazh is like, he like kneels down and looks very closely at what she's doing and is like, what? like what is this girl doing?
Mm-hmm.
There. Do not cross this line. Understood?
Grow up.
And good night again.
Would you just go to sleep already?
It's a real sitcom moment here.
And it fades out and then fades back up, and we're kind of like, we get the sense that like some hours have passed. They've been asleep for some time, and Sazh is sleeping on his side on the ground.
Yeah, we see something very important, which is Chocobo Chick sleeping kind of close to Sazh, and he's got the little anime bubble that shows like sleeping. Like, it's so cute.
But Sazh is like slightly startled or whatever. He like wakes up a little bit and then realizes what's happening. The camera kind of moves over and you see that Vanille, like whether on purpose or just in her sleep, has scooted across her own line all the way back to Sazh, right? And like her face looks very worried, like she's having like a bad dream.
Yeah, she's kind of whimpering too, right?
And he just like to himself goes, still a kid.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that scene, and I was like, oh man, that's it's like it's cute, but it's rough at the same time. Where you're like, damn, that does suck.
Mm-hmm.
And we can save.
Which I suggest that we do, because we're gonna get right back into fucking cutscene territory at the beginning of the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of, I guess, Vile Peaks for now, right?
That's the end of Vile Peaks.
Yeah.
Until David Lynch comes back and directs the third season.
Yeah, not quite the end of chapter 4, but I think is that where we're calling it for today?
I think so, yeah.
There's a bunch of cutscenes in much different areas, so it seems like a fitting place to stop.
There's a bunch of snow, and I just don't feel like I'm ready to deal with that today.
I'm so excited to talk about Snow in the next one, because he wins even more points with me.
Oh my, why? No,
He's great. He's great until the other shoe drops and I start hating him. That's why.
Well, I feel like all the shoes have dropped at this point.
Damn, really? You guys are fucking crazy. It's no rules.
Oh, I hate him so much. He's so annoying. No, it's fine.
I'm like waiting for the Waka moment where I'm like, I know everyone always talks shit on Waka, but he seems pretty cool. And then it's like, oh, he's extremely racist.
Yeah,
like,
that's right, yeah.
I'm waiting for like Snow to start saying some shit like, people won't replace us or something. And I'll be like, well, I can't like him anymore. God damn it, the fucking asshole.
No, he's not that far. He's not quite that far.
He's buying a tiki torch or some shit.
That would be a very, very different game. But yeah, that's it.
Cool. Yeah, and I guess we'll technically finish chapter 4 next, because we have a cutscene and actually like a playable flashback.
Yeah,
yep.
We have a first for this season, which is a playable flashback
in engine. I'm very excited to talk about the famous low poly animal next episode.
The what? Oh my god, I've never seen that before.
That one's from Lightning Returns, but he does make an appearance in this next episode.
Oh my goodness, I don't even want to spoil what that is. I just leave that as a little teaser. Definitely join us next time, because that is a bucko right there. Oh my god. You know what that looks like? That looks like one of those YouTube videos where you see like, it's this game, but all the animations have been increased by 1,000 or whatever. And like the faces are like moving through each other. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm excited about that dog. Oops, spoiler.
I'm always excited about that dog. I'm happy to report that throughout the entire time of us talking about that section with Sazh and Vanille, I had on the extended edition of oh wait, no, never mind. I was gonna say Saz's theme, and now it's actually playing Can't Catch a Break. I was gonna say it didn't seem like it was only 20 minutes that we were talking about that shit. So disregard. We went longer than I realized.
Oh my gosh. Alex is just posting it in the Discord and I love it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, last weekend, in relation to this, was the relay.
Yeah, indeed. I'm trying to think if...
and also our friend Relaxander's...
the Dia Beatdown?
Yes, the Dia Beatdown, where they were playing... I guess Rocksmith for diabetes charity.
Yeah, for JRDF.
JRDF.
Jet Set Radio Future.
JDRF, sorry. My brain is fried.
And I'm sure that they all did great.
Yes.
Which, if you don't already, you should go follow Relaxander on Twitch. Incredible guitar player.
Wonderful human being as well. Just
absolutely.
Absolute homie. I don't know if he'll listen to this. I know he's been going through the Final Fantasy VII season. Maybe in a couple of years he'll listen to this. What's up, Alex?
It's all good.
But yeah, he was just on the front page of Twitch today, which is extremely hype. And been raising a lot of money for diabetes charities. So it's a cause that's very close to his heart. So
love it. Can I get some claps in the chat? Trying to think if anything's going on. I believe my band Zaku will be having a show on the 30th of September. That's pretty much been confirmed, but if there's any changes, I'll let you know. Next week, as of the day this comes out, Splatoon 3 begins, so I'll see you all there.
There's a lot happening this weekend. We got FF Relay at the time of this recording. We got Splatfest, Dia Beatdown. It's a busy weekend for us last weekend.
Indeed it is.
For September, I will be raising some money for the American Heart Association, which, no pun intended, a cause that's very close to my heart. In my early 20s, I was diagnosed with an arrhythmia called atrial fibrillation. And I was able to get a procedure that took care of it. My cardiologist told me that there was like a 50-50 shot that it might come back. We weren't really sure what triggered it to happen in the first place. For years, I've been good with that as far as I know. I could never really tell if I was in that arrhythmia. But recently, it came back, and my Apple Watch that some friends of the show, Dave and Sarah from the Daycare Dittos and Sailor Moon Wisdom / Sweet Matter got me an Apple Watch, which is able to detect that, which is extremely
that's badass.
Nice. So I had it for about 2 days, and I was constantly every couple of hours getting alerts like, hey, you're an AFib, you should, get that checked out. That drastically raises your chances for stroke, or I guess not drastically, like at my age, it's something that people can live with. It's not too much of a big deal, but it can be, and it's something that you need to kind of stay on top of. So timing couldn't be better. We had representatives from the American Heart Association reach out to Speed Souls, which I am a part of, to see if people wanted to do fundraising in the lead up to World Heart Day, which I believe is September 28th. I got a goofy charity stream planned for that, and all through September for the lead up of it, I'm going to have a campaign open for raising money for that, and I'll have some incentives and stuff, and more information on that to come, or just come by my Twitch channel and ask me about it. So,
hell yeah.
Should be pretty fun. I will say that on World Health Day, I want to do a Dark Souls crowd control randomizer run, where if we hit a certain amount of money through the crowd controlling, which basically you pay money to get coins that you can then fuck with my game and fuck me up. If we hit enough of that going on, I am going to turn on a enemy randomizer, which makes it significantly even more hard. So I'll be fighting different enemies in spots that I shouldn't be, and fighting against chat, and it's all for charity. So
that one large guy you fight at the very, very beginning of Blighttown. It's like the first enemy you fight in Blighttown. You're on like a thin little board or whatever. That's just Ornstein right there.
Yeah, literally. Like I did one of those recently, and just everywhere there was like an Ornstein, and it was insane.
It's the worst. That's the last thing I want to be anywhere is an Ornstein. Any other enemy can be anywhere, just no more Ornstein.
Yeah, it's real goofy, so it should be really fun. I want to try and do like a super long stream for that, and I want to see if I can also kind of save up some money to make it more interesting. Like if I can complete the randomizer, then I win. But if chat wins, I have to make a big donation to the cause. And I'm also going to do all of my revenue for the month of September on my stream with subs and Twitch Prime subs, particularly because it costs nothing to people. I'm going to put that directly into the charity. So,
oh yeah, well, see you there.
Hell yeah. Alex, do you want to draw a line down between where we're sleeping and where you are, and tell us not to cross it?
Grow up. But yeah, thank you to Masashiyama Uzu, especially for this for Sazh's theme. Very good. The song has a arrhythmia of its own, maybe.
I thought about it. I thought about it the whole time. I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it's just occasionally your heart does a meter of 5. It's fine.
I got one of those jazz hearts.
Yeah, be sure to leave us a review, rate us on iTunes and Spotify. You can text us or call us at 530-MATERIA. You can find us at EveryFNFF on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and join our Discord. Not much of a podcast for us, huh? Hard to picture a happy ending.
All right, goodbye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.